Jessica Biel transforms into Candy Montgomery in new Hulu series. It's been over 40 years since Texas housewife Candy Montgomery killed her friend Betty Gore with an axe on the night of June 13, 1980. In an upcoming limited series titled Candy, available on May 9, Hulu will shine some light on the chilling events leading up to Gore's untimely death. Elizabeth Moss, who was originally set to play Montgomery, departed the project due to scheduling conflicts, and the title role will now be played by Jessica Biel, as seen in the newly released trailer. The series, which will also star Melanie Lynskey, Timothy Simons, Pablo Schreiber, and Raul Esparza, takes a deeper look into what made this mother of two with a loving husband and a beautiful suburban home kill her friend. Watch the trailer here, and find out more about the real murder of Betty Gore ahead. How did Candy Montgomery and Betty Gore meet? Candy was a loving mother and housewife in Wiley, TX, who spent her free time teaching others the word of the Bible. A devout churchgoer, Candy met Betty at the First United Methodist Church of Lucas, where the two formed a close friendship and eventually developed a mutual hatred for each other after Candy developed feelings for Betty's husband, Alan Gore. Candy Montgomery's affair with Alan Gore. Candy married Pat Montgomery, an electrical engineer at Texas Instruments, in the early 70s. Despite the fact that their family was wealthy and Candy enjoyed being a housewife, she found herself incredibly bored at home. She first developed feelings for Alan during a church volleyball game in 1978, during which the two collided while making a move to hit the ball at the same time. After choir practice one day, the 28-year-old confessed her feelings to Alan, who told Candy he loved his wife too much to have an affair. During that time, Betty taught elementary school in Wiley and was pregnant with her second child. Betty found it difficult to cope when her husband would leave her home alone to go away on frequent business trips, and Alan was unhappy with their predictable sex life, putting strain on their marriage. Nearly 3 weeks after Candy confessed her feelings to Alan, he called her on her 29th birthday and asked her to meet him at an auto repair shop in McKinney, TX. The murder of Betty Gore on the night of Friday, June 13, 1980, Alan was away for a business trip and found it strange that his wife, who hated being left home alone, was not answering his phone calls. Slightly concerned, he asked his neighbor Richard Parker to knock on the front door and see if Betty was home, according to Texas Monthly. Betty did not answer, so Alan called Candy to see if she'd heard from Betty that day. Candy insisted Betty seemed fine when she saw her earlier that day while picking up her daughter's swimsuit and assured Alan nothing was wrong. After a few more phone calls, Alan grew more concerned and stayed on the phone with his friends to receive updates as they investigated further into Betty's potential disappearance. At home, both cars were in the garage and the lights were on, making it all the more strange that Betty wouldn't answer. Several hours after Alan first suspected something was wrong, his search party of neighbors entered the home, where they came across the Gore's baby daughter, Bethany, in her crib and Betty's dead body in the utility room. Devastated by the news, Alan called Candy, who was babysitting his other daughter, Elisa, at the time, and sought comfort in her. After some investigation, the police found a bloody footprint at the crime scene, and the news quickly spread all over town. As soon as Candy heard about the footprint, she set to work destroying the soles of her favorite summer sandals with a pair of garden shears. The investigation and aftermath. Candy quickly became the main suspect in the case of Betty's death after her own report that she was the last one to see Betty alive. Candy's story about the day's events gave the police no reason to believe she was the true killer until Alan eventually admitted that he had ended an affair with Candy several months earlier, giving her a motive to commit murder. Candy was charged with murder and was soon released on bail. Despite her potential involvement in the case, Candy received wholehearted support from the church and soon hired Don Crowder, a lawyer she knew from the church, to represent her in the case. In order to help Candy better remember the events that took place on June 13, 1980, she and Crowder hired Dr. Fred Fasson, a psychiatrist and clinical hypnotist. After a few hypnosis sessions, Dr. Fasson determined that Candy was suffering from deep-rooted childhood trauma that had triggered immense rage within her as an adult.